Well, hello everyone. We are back, and today we are working again with acrylic paints. We are going to be working on values. I know you're probably getting sick of values, but every medium you work with, every different type of art supply you work with, you need to learn how to do the value scale. So it's an important process to learn, and it will help you in the long run. So we are going to work on value scales today. Actually, we will have done this part in class, but if any of you missed class, I want to make sure that you have it, or if you forgot something that we talked about, I want to make sure that you are able to look back and get the information you need. So here is our color wheel, or our colors of paint that you were given. You each should have your box of paint. I have misplaced mine, so I have to use different paint. I apologize, but I'm hoping to find it before class. So anyway, here is our paint that we're going to be using. You're going to pick one color. So you're going to decide what one color you want to use. So I'm going to go with this permanent light green. That's going to be my color. You're also going to need black, and you're going to need white. So one color plus your black and white. So you can pull all that out. Everything else can get set off to the side. So once you determine that, then we are going to get down to our value scale. So in class, you're going to get this. We're going to work through this in class. I need you to write your name on the top. You are going to turn this in with your art this week. So we are going to make our value scale. So for this, you're going to need a paper plate. You're going to need your paint. You're going to need a brush. At home, you're going to need water. We won't use water in class. And a paper towel. That is all you need for what we're doing today. All right, so you picked your color. I have green. We are going to recreate this value scale with our one color. So our one color generally will fall in the 4 or 5 range, somewhere in between the 3 to 4 range. We have to determine what its value is. That's our starting point. I'm going to say this is in the 4. So I'm going to put my gob of paint on the plate, and I'm going to make a big gob. So my very first one is 4. So I'm just going to take the straight paint, and I'm going to fill in my 4. We're kind of creating the control. So these are all the colors that we're going to use in our project this week. And we're going to match each value scale to that, or each value to our scale. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry. Then I am going to decide if I'm going to go dark first. I'm going to start with the light. So I'm going to make a pile of green. Whoops. I haven't used these in a while, so there's a little bit of air in there. Get some white on my... Alright, so you're actually going to want to make 7 piles of green on your plate, because we're going to save these plates, and you can take them home and you can reuse them. You can use the paint you've created, and if you need to make more, you can make more. So I'm going to make a few piles anyway. We'll start there. I don't need my 4 because, well, you can pull that straight from the bottle. But, all right. So my first color is going to be the lightest. So I'm going to make a little pile of white. This number 1 is not going to be white. It is going to be slightly tinted. So I'm going to mix up a very light color of this green. Right. It's probably even too light, too dark. All right, that's good. So just slightly tinted. Okay, see that? Make sure you can see that. Slightly tinted, a little bit off-white. Okay, so my next one is going to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to take another little pile of white and I'm going to add some green into it. Trying to get it in that range and a little bit more white or green. Okay. Now this color is going to be my step up from the 2, but a step down from the 4. So I'm going to take my green and I'm going to add some white into it. There's a significant jump between the 3 and the 2. Now the nice thing about acrylics is if you put this down and you think it needs to change, you just paint right over it. Acrylics can cover. That's a good color. Happy with that. Okay, and we want to leave as much paint on the plate because again, you're going to take these plates home and you can use the paint that's on them and then use that to create, or to add to it. All right, so there's our 4. Now we need 5, 6, and 7. So here's where I'm going to pull in some black. So I'm done using white. At home, you're going to want to rinse off your brush when you go from the light to dark because you don't want to drag any of that white or the black, either way. So I'm going to put a little black on my You do not need much black. Black is very overpowering. All right, so I'm going into my 5, so I am going to take just a little bit on the tip of my brush, and I'm going to add that to this. Because just like the 3, I want it just a little bit, not a huge jump. All right, I think that's a good, let's try it. I think that matches that pretty well. Yep. Okay, so my next one, I'm going to take a little bit bigger scoop than I did. And I'm going to put that in there and make my next And you can label these if you want. If you want to mark these, so this is my 1, this is my 2, this is my 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 on your plate. That way you shouldn't get confused, but you know, you never know. Most of you don't do this project till, you know, 5 days after we've talked about all this stuff, so you tend to forget. Okay, let's try this. Now this is, that might be a little bit too dark. That might be closer to my 7, but we'll try it. I'm not grading you on your ability to stay in the lines here. All right, and then for my 7, this is not black. This is not straight black. You do have to tint your green. So get that as dark of a green as you can get it. Probably could have just put a little bit of green in that black, but there is a difference. I will notice if you don't use your color. Okay, so significant shift in that also. Look at that. Looks black, but there is the undertone of green, which is what you want. Look at that, simple. Okay, we will have done that in class. Make sure this dries completely before you stick it in your notebook. But you will turn this in with your project. So that's all I have for this video. The next video we will talk about our at-home project.